soldiers accused of sexually abusing a Palestinian detainee at the Sde Tayman military prison in July 2024 have been dropped. The military said this was due to exceptional circumstances that affected the ability to prosecute while ensuring a fair trial. After the incident, which was partly captured on CCTV, the Palestinian detainee needed hospital treatment for serious internal injuries. The footage was leaked by the then military advocate general in an effort to counter false propaganda against the Israeli army's law enforcement authorities. She later resigned and was arrested over the leaked video. All charges against 5 soldiers accused of sexually abusing a Palestinian detainee at the Sde Tayman military prison in July 2024 have been dropped. The military said this was
I want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham Ha Rekah Kodash. Double honors unto our apostle elders which rule Great Millstone well, and shalom to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel, Wa Abba Babal. Alright, so as you heard the video, you had IDF soldiers, Israeli Defense Forces, injure a person that they had in captivity. They pretty much raped that person, molested the person until damn near death, where they had to go to the hospital for serious internal injuries, which it could have been a man, they didn't say, but these Edomites are naturally born gay, all right? They're pedophiles, they're perverts, they're the worst of the worst. The so-called white race is a disgusting beast. All right, it says in Isaiah 3, and I'm going to get it in the NLT. It says, but the wicked are doomed, for they will get exactly what they deserve. Verse 12, and I'm going to get the NLT. It says, childish leaders oppress my people, which are these Edomites, the so-called white race. All right, they're like disobedient children. And women rule over them, which when you see that video, you saw that they had a woman that turned them in for doing that vile act, right? Which they had that woman in a position of power. It says, O my people, the Israelites, your leaders mislead you. They send you down the wrong road. And this is why they push a spirit of sodomy on the earth through America, because they are sodomites. All right, they're weirdos, they're perverts, they're PDFs, they're the scum of the earth. All right, and the Lord's going to get rid of them soon. All right, it says in Ecclesiasticus 10 verse 7, pride is hateful before all power and man, and by both the one commit iniquity. All right, because they don't think they'll ever have to face judgment. But it tells you there's a judgment coming for all these vile acts that you've committed. You'll get exactly what you deserve. Isaiah 14, verse 21. It says, prepare slaughter for his sons for the iniquity of their fathers. So these are the same devils, the so-called white race that oppressed us in the past as Greeks and Romans. That they do not rise nor possess the land nor fill the face of the world with cities, because they're wicked. All right? They're nasty, vile beasts. All right? It says, for I will rise up against them, saith Yahweh of hosts, which Yahweh is the Almighty, and he's going to send the captain of his host, Yahweh Shai, with the host of heaven, and he's going to fight against the devil, the so-called white race, and their military. And cut off from Babylon the name and remnant and son and nephew, saith Yahweh, which America is going to become a lake of fire because they promoted the vile activities of that beast man, the so-called white race, the wicked that rule the world today. I will also make it a possession for the bittern and pools of water. I will sweep it with the besom of destruction, saith Yahweh of hosts. Which he's going to burn America with nuclear fire via putting it in the heart of the allies and enemies of this great whore, Babylon the Great. All right. Now it says, And once again, in Ecclesiasticus 10, verse 7, pride is hateful before all power and man, and by both the one commit iniquity. Because of unrighteous dealings like that, right? They're running a train either on a female detainee or a male detainee, which is wicked either way. All right, it's unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, which they steal for their living. They murder, steal, and lie. The kingdom is translated from one people, from the Edomite, from the so-called white race, the wicked that rule the world, to another. That other that he's going to give it to is to the Israelite, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. And this is why he's going to give us the power to punish these people when we get that power. It says in Isaiah 49 and verse 1, praise ye Yahweh, sing unto Yahweh a new song, which we have through Yahushai, we have grace, and his praise in the congregation of saints, which are the Israelites, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. Let Israel rejoice in him that made him. Let the children or sons of Zion be joyful in their king. Let them praise his name in the dance. Let them sing praises unto him with the timbrel and harp. For Yahweh taketh pleasure in his people, starting with Yahushai, and he will beautify the meek with salvation. The Israelites that are willing to repent, he will give salvation. Let the saints, the Israelites, be joyful in glory, which we glory in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Let them sing aloud upon their beds. Let the high praises of all power be in their mouth, and a two-edged sword in their hand, to execute vengeance upon the heathen and punishments upon the people, to bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron, to execute upon them the judgment written. This honor have all his saints. Praise ye Yahweh. So Yahweh is going to send his son Yahushai back, and he's going to make the tables turn to where we are ruling, and we have these heathen in captivity under us. All right? And we're going to punish them with an iron fist. It says in, let's see, Psalm 137, verse 7, remember, O Yahweh, the sons of Edom, the so-called white race, in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundation thereof, which this is a phrase they use today, right? They'll say, we're going to raise it, or they have a general named Rezin Cain, all right? So they're a weapon of mass destruction, the so-called white race, and in their heart is to destroy everything, whether it's a manhood, right, a woman's virginity, or a city. All right, they don't give a fuck. They'll destroy anything. And this is why the Lord has to send divine intervention for the elect's sake, to protect us from this devil, the sword in the hand of the Lord. It says, O daughter of Babylon, which is America, who art to be destroyed, happy shall he be that rewarded thee as thou hast served us, which the Lord's going to rejoice in the destruction of the Edomites, as well as we will with him, all right, which we're going to be preserved and changed and be made like him, and we're going to watch this great whore burn, all right? All the troops in the Valley of Slaughter, which you know as the Valley of Jehoshaphat, the place where Yahweh's Mashapaitim will take place on these heathens' military, all right, they're gonna be dust and smoke at the end of the day. It says, happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones, because we don't want these little bastards to grow up and infect the earth with the wickedness of their fathers, the Edomites, the so-called white race. They're the red devil the Bible speaks of. It says in Psalm 2 verse 1, why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? Because they think they're going to overcome us. They think they're going to slaughter us. They think they're going to wipe us off the face of the earth, but it's them that's going to be made extinct. It says in verse 2, the kings of the earth set themselves. Verse 2, the kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against Yahweh and against his anointed, the prophets of Israel, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. So they're plotting against the anointed of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai to try to slaughter us. It tells you in Psalm 83, it says in verse 3, they have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. So that's what these Edomites want to do with the other nations. They want to try and slaughter the Israelites, but it's going to fail and they're going to be slaughtered. It says in Psalm 2 verse 4, he that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh, the Lord shall have them in derision. That's why your shame is being revealed, all right, by your own people. They're revealing the Epstein files. They're revealing this footage of these IDF soldiers running a train on a Palestinian detainee, most likely a man, showing you that they're freaks, they're weirdos, they're not the Israelites, they're the Edomites, they're nasty pieces of shit. Then shall he speak unto them in his wrath and vex them in his sore displeasure, which there's plagues coming upon the earth. Yet have I set my king upon my holy hill of Zion, which are the Israelites. Revelation 14 and 1, and I looked, and lo, a lamb, Yahushai, stood on the Mount Sion, the Israelites, and with him 144,000, having his father's name and his name written in their foreheads. All right, Psalm 2, verse 7, it says, I will declare the decree Yahweh has said unto me, thou art my son, which he was speaking to King David's son, King Solomon, which in the reincarnation is Yahushai. This day have I begotten thee. Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, which we're going to have them as slaves in our land, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession, and we're going to rule with an iron fist, according to the laws of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. So the sentence for sodomites is death. All right. A group of men that run a train on a woman is death. All right. So these vile beasts, bastards, have a death sentence that they're trying to get away from, but really they're going to be running right into that death sentence. It says, thou shalt break them with a rod of iron, thou shalt dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel. We're not just going to break up their families and their homes. We're going to break up their bodies into pieces. Literally, it says, let their blood be upon them, meaning make them like hamburger. All right, we're going to start from the toes up, and we're going to break them down into the lowest element. And they're going to go through this many times. Remember, we have them for 1,000 years. And Esau, the so-called white race, the wicked, is going to get it the worst. Be wise now, therefore, O ye kings. Be instructed, ye judges of the earth, talking about the elect of Israel. Serve Yahweh with fear and rejoice with trembling. Kiss the Son, lest he be angry and ye perish. Acknowledge Yahushai in the Bible, unless ye perish. And ye perish from the way, which Yahushai is the way, and his wrath is kindled but a little. Blessed are all they that put their trust in him. So we trust in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, which is a gift from heaven, from Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai through the Holy Spirit, We have trust in Yahweh, Son, Yahweh Shai. We honor Yahweh, Son, Yahweh Shai, honoring Yahweh. And Yahweh is going to remember us and give us the power to have these heathen in captivity and punish them for what they've done in their bodies as men on earth, which they done all this shit against the Israelite. They used to do a thing called buck breaking. So it says buck breaking refers to a historical and often taboo practice employed by slave masters to sexually assault, torture, and humiliate so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American Indian male slaves, particularly those perceived as strong, defiant, or leaders. The practice was designed to emasculate and break the will of those men, often in front of their families or other enslaved people, to install fear and maintain dominance, which we're not going to do the same vile act, for we are righteous. But there's nothing wrong with impalement. See, it says, impalement is a historical method of torture and execution involving the penetration of a human body by a stake, pole, or spear, often resulting in slow death. It has also historically been used as a severe penalty, notably in myths, which, like the vampire, right? Which he was a real man, and he was installing fear in men by impaling them. All right. It says it is rarely used today, having been replaced by the more modern forms of execution. But this is a thing that these heathen are gonna taste. All right, which we don't sodomize men. We don't sodomize women. That's a vile, nasty habit that was taught by the heathen, which we're gonna use impalement, like it says, a stake, pole, or spear, and we're gonna put it right up their ass and out their mouth. All right, and they're gonna be displayed in public. All right, as their slow death takes time. All right, and they're gonna be in horrible pain. Right, and we're gonna mock them. We're gonna laugh at them. All right, because the wicked, they're gonna get exactly what they deserve when it's time. All right. Right now, we got to wait. We got to be patient and wait for Yahweh to send Yahweh Shai. Then Yahweh Shai will give us the heathen, and we will punish them for everything that they've done unto us. It says in, let's see, Isaiah 14:1. It says, for Yahweh will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel, the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American Indian, and set them in their own land, which our land is Israel. And the strangers shall be joined with them, the Israelites. They're joining us by the internet. They're learning the truth and cleaving to it. And they shall cleave to the house of Jacob, which this truth is only for the Israelites. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place, the heathen that violated us. And the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of Yahweh for servants and handmaids. And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. We're going to pay them back for everything they've done to us through all the generations. Revelation 13:9. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. So you're going to get exactly what you deserve. But all we got to do as faithful saints is wait. We're waiting on Yahweh to send Yahweh Shai, and Yahweh Shai will give us the heathen and give us the power to punish them for everything they've done to us through many generations. Shalom to the elect wa abal babal.